Hi guys, this video is brought to you today by my friend Shin, aka Weird8 Productions. Visit his channel with the link in the description to see his short films and his movie and cartoon compilations. Alright, hey guys, Flippin' Bobby here, and unfortunately for this video you're not going to be able to see my face, and that is because I did a video chat with Steven and Gabby talking about Deadpool 2. All three of us have seen the movie, and we're going to give you guys a review slash summary. The problem is when I was recording it, the internet was really laggy, and unfortunately the footage looks super choppy, so you're just going to be hearing our voices for this video. So don't panic, I'm not just going back to a voiceover. This is just for this video and the next one, which will be a discussion on the CalArts incident. Somebody made an implied threat to CalArts, and we'll be talking about it in the next video. But until then, please enjoy our Deadpool 2 review. So, I don't know, Steven, you want to go first? You seem to be the one that has the most to say, have the most things to say about Deadpool 2.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Deadpool 2. We got sidetracked a bit, but
Go on.
we all saw Deadpool 2 like a long time ago at this point, but we've been struggling to come up with a meetup time. So guess I'll be starting. Technically, I already gave my thoughts on like Stardust, and so did Bobby right here. But it's actually, I think it's better than the first one, and I honestly, yeah, and honestly, the way I describe it is they went bigger, but at the same time, they kind of zeroed in on both the meta humor and the whole point of picking such a cliche story, and they made the best thing. They did the best that they could with those parts. So we'll get more into it later, but overall, yeah, I definitely think it's probably gonna be in my top 10 of the year.
Whoa.
And it's a good year right now.
Oh yeah, I'd agree.
In fact, I just came back from seeing Upgrade. Solid film.
Yeah. Which, yeah, you've been talking. Yeah, you talked about it quite a bit. Gabby, do you want to give your quick thoughts about Deadpool 2?
Well, I don't know where to start. I mean, I loved what they did with the characters. I got to learn a lot about where these characters came from outside of it by talking about the movie with people, which is really cool. And I think it was the right combination of how do you say inclusive and at the same time gritty. Like I always feel weird when people are like, "Oh yeah, you don't want to like hurt people," and oh blah 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 blah. But hey, we got a little bit of everything with Deadpool. You know, as far as like kind of like topics go with that. So I was really happy to see that as well.
I will say in their diversity department, they feel a lot less forced than most of the Marvel films.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
I absolutely loved that. The other thing is that they do a really good job with incorporating stuff that the fans who already know where all of this is coming from can enjoy, and at the same time keeping it just as enjoyable, or you know maybe even more so. In both cases, I think for the people who are coming in, you know, without any former knowledge. Heck, I'm pretty sure a lot of people who didn't watch the first Deadpool movie can actually at least get a good, decent chunk out of the second one. You know, just off the bat. I would still probably recommend to watch the first one, but yeah. You know, I think I also agree with Steven that they really got a lot better with this second movie. They really upped the ante and just kind of like took all the right things that we enjoyed from the first movie and then just amplified them in the second.
So I guess we'll go with Bobby now, and I would be interested, Bobby. Do you have any perspective on the how the audience is grading this? Because I do know that there's a sizable chunk of people who prefer the first one overall. I think the same thing for Guardians of the Galaxy. It had a similar effect.
It's really weird because I don't usually like looking up reviews of movies, especially if I know I'm gonna watch them. It's weird. I can't really gauge if people thought that the first one was better than this or vice versa. Because I think I heard when Deadpool 2 was still on its way, the initial reaction was that people seemed to like the first one, and then I heard, oh, now a lot more people like the sequel, which like you guys, I'm kind of I'll hold off on like my thoughts for a second. But in terms of like the audience perception, I can't really say much other than it's kind of fluctuating. You know.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, is the audio much better over there? Because it was playing on speakers earlier. You can speak.
I think so.
Yeah, because I was playing this on speakers, so I was wondering if it was recording the background audio. So.
Oh, in terms of that, I heard a little echo, but it wasn't like very obvious.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay then.
I'm doing the same on my end. I don't know if it's coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using
No, well,
headphones, so.
no, okay. Give me perspective on this. How does this sound?
Is that what the speaker?
Yes.
Yeah, I could barely hear the speaker, if anything. I mean, it could
Okay,
just
I'm
be
gonna leave the I'm gonna leave the headphones off then.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I I guess that you wanna elaborate much later, Bobby. So I guess we're gonna start off by saying once again this is a spoiler discussion, and to be fair, it's been several weeks since the movie's come out, so that's one of the benefits from coming into this late. We can talk about spoilers all we want.
Woot!
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. So let's start off with essentially it starts off with a most of the action in the trailer is actually in like the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes of this movie. It's all in just one big montage. What did you think of that?
I liked it.
As for me, I think for me, even though yeah, we saw a lot of it in the trailer, we didn't really know where it fit. Like we obviously knew. I remember I saw the scene where um, Domino was driving the truck and Deadpool was on the motorcycle and they were trying to get to Cable. Like that was on Jimmy Kimmel. Like okay, I knew that was kind of in the middle of the movie when extras got together, but I never remember remember the scene after Deadpool's the girlfriend got axed and then he goes on the goes outside and tries to find the person who shot her. Like I didn't know that was what was going on. I just assumed. And funny enough, I should have known it was Wade Wilson from his screwed up face, but I didn't know that was what was going on. So
Yeah.
Well, you kind of jumped ahead onto onto that whole thing because I was about to segue into it, but screw it. Let's just talk about the fact that Vanessa
you said
died.
spoiler, yeah. You said spoiler, so I said okay. Well, Vanessa got axed, so I'll just
Vanessa got axed in like the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
How did you feel they handled Vanessa's death in that moment?
I don't know. I thought it worked. There wasn't really much to, I don't know, question about it, I guess.
Gabby, your face is all fuzzy right now.
Your face is fuzzy on my end.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think we just
here.
have a yeah, I think we just have a really bad connection because I'm in full HD in here.
Yeah. Also, the internet at my house kind of sucks, so
Okay, yeah.
yeah. But let's just keep going.
Yeah, so Gabby, you said weren't sure how to feel about it at first.
Oh, no, no, no. I thought it worked really well. I just thought
Then
it
yeah,
worked really well. You know, I feel like a lot of times when they try to kill off, especially a romantic interest in films, whether they are a sequel or not, it tends to feel a little forced at times. But I think it worked in very well. It was out of the blue in the right kind of way, in which it didn't feel like they killed her simply because they had to. It was just more kind of like, hey, this is the kind of life they live. Stuff like this happens. It's just boom, yo, right there.
Yeah. As for me personally, I'm not gonna lie. When it happened in the movie, I kind of felt how could I put this? I know, like, I like where they went with it, but admittedly, I first thought it kind of took me by surprise. Like, we're going in that direction, and the way they handled it, I thought, wow. Even though, yeah, they kind of got jokey with that intro sequence where they were parodying the Skyfall intro. I thought, ooh, this is kind of somber for Deadpool, isn't it? But I do really like where they went with the death of Vanessa, and how you know Deadpool, Wade Wilson had to go on from that, and of course she popped up, like he kind of had that out of body experience here and there throughout the movie.
yeah. I will elaborate more on that, but I will say when I first saw it, I was like part of me was kind of groaning because that is such a cliche. Like like it's not even for superhero movies. Like that's literally the premise to the second Bourne movie and a bunch of revenge thrillers. So when I first thought it, was like, okay, this is kind of a trite plot, but once again, I just think I think what sold their relationship in the first movie was essentially their dynamic and just the way that they set that whole thing up, both with like their dialogue and performance. Like even though like, hey, we're gonna have a baby soon, like all of this cliche stuff is being thrown around, but they sold it with just the way they presented it, and the fact that most of those other revenge thrillers they tend to go with it the person died and so they have to catch that one guy and he's gonna be the main villain. But no, this was just some random that he killed off. So it's like the fact that they didn't try to make it uh chase that one guy, chase that one target, and then the movie's over. That they just decided to go with okay, the guy's dead. She's still dead. What do you do what do you do now? I think that was a good way to handle it, especially, and I cannot stress this enough. After I saw Pacific Rim Uprising, I was so glad that someone still knew how to handle a character this right. Because without going into it too much, Pacific Rim Uprising doesn't give a fuck about its old cast. Like it is flat out disrespectful.
And I think one of the other things too with that whole situation was that there isn't really any other better way to get at the deeper emotions that come with Deadpool, because he didn't care about himself as far as like being alive. Like he probably finds death as a relief, and they actually even go into that in the film itself. So I thought if we were going to get any kind of intense emotions out of the film, that would be the best way to go to it, because there's really not much else I could think of to really get there. And like you said, the other thing too, going the route where it's like, yeah, we're not going to focus on getting revenge in that sense or anything like that, because ultimately it will become pointless. And I think it's something you don't really see as far as that. Usually when you have that, that's what the movie's going to be about. You're going to do anything and everything you can to get back at the person who did that to you, and you're going to avenge your loved one, and it's going to feel so good, and it's going to be like.
Can I also say, by the way, that is a very hilarious way for Deadpool to kill off a revenge target. Just drag him over to a truck with him.
It was perfect. Like, he just did not care. Like, I'm taking you with me. Like, I don't even care no more.
But I completely missed the fact that the movie literally starts with Deadpool giving the FU to Logan just for being able to kill him off at first.
That line though. That line though.
First joke.
Ooh, and you get to take that in so many times. Like, it just keeps going back to it at the beginning, and you're just like, yes. Yes.
They just hammer in the point, like, I want to die, but I cannot die. I'm freaking immortal. I literally blow my apartment. I literally blow my apartment up. I'm in a million pieces, but I can still move.
Yeah. Oh my god. Woo. Woo. He was that whole part. I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of places we couldn't stop laughing, I will say, for such a somber scene to start, that opening intro, the James Bond-esque intro with
the poses he does, like, seriously, I couldn't.
With Celine Dion, of all the choices, of course, why wouldn't they? Just to hammer this in. It was pretty much you know how there's certain movies where they try to hammer in just how emotional some stuff is, but it's to the point where you just end up laughing at it. They did that, but that was the point. They wanted to just hammer in just how hilariously sad this scene is, to the point where, yeah.
And going into that, can I just say that I really enjoyed the music they chose for this movie? I absolutely loved it.
Come on, Bobby.
Actually, come to think of it, yeah, are you talking about, like, the kind of soundtrack stuff they picked? Yeah, like, I know, what was it? They picked, like, Thunderstruck when X-Force was coming out of the sky, and when that last time where we think that Deadpool is, Wade is officially kicking the bucket, and they're playing that new version of Take On Me.
That was another funny part. My favorite out of the soundtrack, though, was the version they picked of Take On Me.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. Yeah, that kind of quieter.
I genuinely enjoyed. Like, that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I even listened to it a couple times after I saw the movie.
Yeah, that one's probably my favorite out of it all. That was like. And it fits too, because you're like, otherwise you can't really take that song very seriously.
I mean, you can. Like, if you just listen to the song on its own, then you can kind of see it. But coupled with those visuals, it just... wait, not only that, but coupled the visuals with the dance music video that they originally came with Deadpool dancing around like a ballerina. Yeah, you cannot take... It just immediately turns whatever power that song had into comedy, and it's awesome.
No, but I'm talking about the whole tender moment he has right before he goes back with what's left or what became X-Force.
We're not on to that yet. We're not on to that.
No, I'm just pointing out the song I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're talking about Thunderstruck, AC/DC.
He's like holding Vanessa, and she's, and you hear that song, and you're just like, I know this song is funny, but I want to cry, man. I want to
Admittedly,
cry.
I was like that when I saw that scene. It's like, oh shit, man. And you know what, though?
And it's kind of like that, because it's like that person who's trying to make you laugh because they know the moment is sad, but it just does not work.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, so beautiful.
Which, by the way, in the middle of all of this tragedy, you got the taxi driver who last time we saw him, he accidentally killed his cousin, his brother, or whoever it was.
This dude that loved this woman, that was hitting on this woman that he liked.
And then he accidentally killed him in a car crash. And now, yeah, he is that character in particular is heading down a dangerous road at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is very clear that if he's not gonna be an assassin, he's gonna cause a public shootout somewhere. So, yeah.
My favorite line from him was, I will bathe in the blood of your enemies."
Yeah. It's like, because he started off the movie saying he wants to be like a hired killer or something like that, right? Which basically assassin.
It's like he uses, what was it? Interview with a Vampire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was hilarious.
So I guess we'll actually move on to the plot, which is when basically after Deadpool tried to blow himself up Looney Tunes style, Colossus brings his corpse over to the X-Men mansion. And I guess we'll start off with Negasonic Teenage Warhead and hi Yukio. The girlfriend. And I specifically love the fact that when Deadpool sees her, when Negasonic thinks that Deadpool is insulting her for being a lesbian, it's actually the fact that I'm surprised anyone went with you at all.
I loved that. That was beautiful.
I thought
oh my gosh, and it made it so much more funny. Like, oh god, that was genuinely funny.
Yeah.
I especially find the fact that to just coincide with how different their personalities are like Negasonic is the one that again Yu-Gi-Oh is like, what? I find it funny.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No, and I mean, we gotta be honest. Deadpool is the last person who's going to be judging that in any way, shape, or form. In fact, he's more likely to be judged.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, he is. But well, yeah, especially since he keeps on finding every opportunity to grab that Colossus ass. Like, it all just because it's made of metal, because he never ends up doing that to any other guy. It's always just that metal butt.
Mm-hmm.
I think I found the right place.
Speaking of which, okay, essentially Colossus is trying to make him good. It's like, hey, you can be part of our family and such. But meanwhile, it's like Deadpool ends up just going around in Professor Xavier's spare chair. Where the heck is everyone else? And unlike and it's like when he gets to the same joke that he did in Deadpool 1, where it's like, oh, I guess the studio could only afford two X-Men, but in this case they show in the background like, no, they're there. They want to be in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, they had to pay for those licenses for just that one shot just to rub that in.
It was worth it.
Yes,
it was worth
it. Don't tell them we're here. We don't want to see it.
Oh, are we gonna talk about what happens in the icebox?
Well, first we're gonna go with probably the most controversial part of this movie, and that is Fire Fist, or basically the kid from Hunter Hunt with the Wilder People. Which this kid. Now I'm trying. Let me look up his name, but he's essentially like the biggest star in New Zealand right now.
Yo!
Really? Well, yeah, because this movie.
He's like an international name over there. Let's see. Yeah, he's worked with Taika Waititi before, which is he did Thor Ragnarok, but he's also like, a friend of mine said that he's like the Edgar Wright of New Zealand. He makes a lot of these quirky films. Like one of them is like a comedy, but with vampires. Well, let me bring it up again. Taika Waititi. I know that. Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows. That one's available.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, that's
one's on Amazon Prime.
That I hear of, and I think it'd probably be very interesting, but I just have not sat down to watch it.
Yeah,
I know the premise though. I know the premise.
Yeah, but this kid's name is let me just.
I have it here. It's Julian Dennison.
Yeah, Julian Dennison. And the thing is, like, I looked up interviews of him. It's like he's a really likable kid. He has a lot of screen presence. But the reason why I say controversial is because I've seen a lot of people dogging on his character because he is just a very spiteful character to them, apparently.
I mean, I could get that, but I don't really know. Whenever there's like I see characters that are very spiteful or pissy, I'm just kind of like, well, that's their character, you know.
And you gotta keep in mind that that's the character the kid is playing, you know, and judging the context of the character, you know, what they've been through, you know, what they end up doing later. You know, you can't get mad over that, and trust me, I am one of those people who cannot stand, you know, characters who are just not redeemable.
Well, I think okay, from what I've heard, specifically, this one was from like spoiler talk for Double Toasted, but part of even though he had like a fucked up past, the main reason a lot of them didn't find it that character sympathetic is that he's essentially a school shooter. Let's just admit it. He is his mindset and his lack of empathy through most of the movie is the mindset of a school shooter. Like just treat the Fire Fist with a machine gun, and you pretty much have him.
That I can see, but you got to keep in mind that kind of mentality stems from a lot of how's this, like fantasy? It's all kind of like this sort of thing. I feel that you know, we're talking about the idea that one is living out a story. If that makes sense. And here we are. This is literally something in a story. You get me?
Yeah.
No, you kind of lost me.
Okay. So I'd say I'd like to describe it as a form of complex where a lot of these people are like living out some sort of drama in their head. And see, obviously, there is a legit drama, you know, playing out in this movie because it is a movie, and movie has drama. So, if anything, one could say that it's a good example of where people get that kind of idea. And it's also one of the reasons why a lot of people blame media for people forming this sort of mentality.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that ultimately, like, the reason why I don't agree with them, like, just hating on the character is that they flat out did, you know, like, while they ask you to sympathize with him, they don't glorify his actions at all. They pretty much think from the start of the movie,
they don't.
Oh, this kid is dangerous. There is a reason why right after he's done with his his rage fest, he's going straight to jail.
And the
And
other thing is that
same
they
for
take
Deadpool for kind of endorsing his actions by shooting.
that's the thing I was going to say. You know, even though we have that sort of personality in there, right? And we're seeing it worked out that way because it really is. They're not saying, hey, feel bad for them, or hey, you know, you got to do this or do that. No, they're saying, yo, this is not okay. You got to stop this.
Yeah.
Stop. You know, and I think that's the message that we really need to take out of it. If it were something that we're glorifying it, you know, and saying,
Which I will say that is another controversial element. There is an element
right
where
there, it's right there on the fence.
yeah.
You know, you can kind of like push it one way or another, but it's not very clear cut, and that's the thing. Nothing is really clear cut. You know, and I think a lot of people forget that. So yeah, I'm talking about if they go out of their way to blatantly, without a doubt, glorify that kind of like behavior, then I could see more of why it would be a problem.
Well, Bobby's pretty quiet here again. Come on, you can inject yourself.
Chime in, dear friend.
Yeah, definitely. Well, mainly because, like, you know, I'm pretty much, you know, agreeing with you guys. I mean, especially since I'll tell you about the way I took in this character, you know, Firefist's character, was that, you know, obviously, yeah, he's a bit of a hothead, but, you know, it's the kind of thing where Deadpool is like, you know, no, we're trying to help you, but he's like, stay away from me. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I got kind of confused when I heard, oh, there's people that don't like him and they see him in that unlikable, like a sort of a school shooter. Like, at least that's how I took it, and that's why I was able to sympathize. And that Deadpool, you know, and the rest were saying, we're trying to help you. It's, you know, it's not that, you know, he's like a villainous character, or there's like, look at this guy, he's awesome, and look, he's gonna go, you know, I mean, well, do some more crazy things toward the end of the movie. But
and another thing I'm seeing too is that they kind of show just how far you really need to go to have even an opportunity to get through to those kinds of people. You know? And even then, if you're taking that as an example, you get the idea that, hey, that can't really happen in a real life situation. You know, so you kind of go there and you see, like, yeah, no, this is just no bueno.
Right. Well, I'm transferred into basically since Deadpool here, what this character, like, essentially he was abused in this orphanage for mutants, and so he essentially shoots one of his abusers, and so both Deadpool and him end up in pretty much mutant jail, the icebox.
Yeah,
which
the icebox.
I'll turn this one to you, Gaby, because it seemed like you had the most to talk about this section.
Well,
I'll just set it off with they essentially have these chains that prevent their mutant powers. So in Deadpool's case, he's essentially just, in his own words, a walking tumor because his regenerative powers are held back. So he's just dying in the cell, being pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
A slow, painful death at that too. Nah, for me, I don't know. I liked how it was the stem for what I found a particularly funny running joke.
Wow.
The prison wallet.
Oh. Bobby, you know what? Oh wait, were you at the bathroom during that joke?
Yeah, I was. I had to take a really big piss in the middle, but yeah, no, didn't get to see
essentially, there's a joke where Julian Dennison's character, he basically mentioned that he like hid a shiv in like in what he called the prison wallet. Essentially, it's the whole cliche of you hide a bunch of stuff up your butthole.
Oh.
He keeps pulling it out throughout the movie too, and it's beautiful. Oh, going on further from that, we also get
Cable.
Yeah.
yes, and then we get one of the big reveals, kind of like starting to be what's the word? Built up, right? They start bringing it into the picture, and you're like, wait, who is it? Wait, who is it? And you know, get out there, and we have that big whole dealio. I'm reluctant to say the name.
Let's just be blunt here though. Like Cable, like while Josh Brolin does a really good job playing as the straight man, Cable's character, like, he's never been considered a good character. He's just kind of there for Deadpool to be made fun of because he is every grimdark cliche you can think of. He has the dead family. He comes from a dystopic universe. He's fully bent on this, like, what must be done. Kind of like Thanos, but with less of the personality. He's essentially the Terminator.
I was told that in the comics, he's actually Cyclops' kid.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah, I heard some of that. I didn't know. Well, I found it extremely interesting, though.
Well, they didn't include that in the movie, so.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
No.
They didn't. I had to learn that outside. Like I heard of that outside of the movie. Yeah. So are we just not gonna talk about the big guy?
The what guy?
Big guy. Oh, damn it! What was the name of his?
That's revealed once we talk about basically once we're done with that whole X-Force scene. So let's we're gonna just go sequentially.
I started dipping into that. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Do this.
I guess we can though like foreshadow that a bit by asking, how did you feel about Deadpool essentially just being a sad sack, telling this kid who at first is actually like trying to get Deadpool on his side, but he's just being a pathetic wuss, like, hey, find someone better.
I'd say that's fitting. I don't think right off the bat he would ever kind of be at terms with the idea of somebody looking up to him.
Yeah, I mean, especially since, he's the kind of character that says, well, I'm no hero.
And then with the whole deal that he experiences trying to make friendly with the X-Men, and they're all like, you keep doing inappropriate stuff and you're not handling it correctly.
Whoa. Let's not put the words inappropriate behavior and kid next to each other, alright? We've had
No, I'm talking about Deadpool. Talking about Deadpool, Colossus essentially is just like shaming him like a little kid, like, oh, hey, you can't do it like that. There are rules and you have to follow them. And
yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. So I'm like, from there, I'm not really surprised that they go that route and be like, yeah, well, Deadpool just doesn't feel capable of doing that. How could he? Take him some time to build up that kind of confidence and a clear mind to really think through how he's going to handle it.
Right.
Which is what happens. So, yeah.
So, where do we go from here? Because
the prison scene.
Yeah, we're still on the prison.
The big prison fight.
Big prison fight. What about it though?
Essentially, Cable breaks in, and essentially that whole scene is like cool action scene, but there's a bunch of jokes some of them are kind of low hanging, like the whole like, man, you're so dark. Are you from the DC universe? Like,
oh yeah,
but essentially, like, it all boils down to they get that whole scene basically separates Deadpool from Firefist, and
yeah.
so, something I forgot to mention from when Deadpool offs himself is that repeatedly throughout the movie we start seeing like flashpoints of him in the afterlife trying to get to like this glorified room with Vanessa's soul, and it's like he can't get in. He's trying to find a way to get in there, but he can't find out. And basically, the time he dies and goes into the frozen water, which is where he gets knocked out in that whole fight, is when Vanessa sort of implies that helping this kid will probably be what would clear his consciousness and therefore allow him to pass on. And right after that is what you're talking about, Gaby, where since Firefist is alone, he essentially takes Deadpool's advice of just find someone who's better and befriend who we later find out is Colossus, which we don't see Colossus until much later. He's just in this massive room, like.
I think you mean Juggernaut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Juggernaut. Yeah.
Can I just say I just absolutely love the reveal?
Oh my gosh, Juggernaut! My favorite.
Oh, and I was not expecting that at all. Like, I'm like, who the heck can that be? I just right, no, boop, whoop. So, I enjoyed it.
Well, basically after that point, Deadpool returned, and then we get the formation of
X-Force.
The X-Force. Right down to these auditions.
And yeah, I mean, they were able to find some pretty good people. I mean, of course, they find Domino. Who was that one guy who was just there to be there?
Bob, I think.
No,
you know the name,
Gaby.
We posted.
George?
Is it Peter or something like that?
I just know him as Sugar Bear.
Let me look. Well, that's his nickname for sure, but
yes.
Oh yeah, Peter.
Yeah,
Peter.
I just saw it and I thought it was cool. And who else was there? There were like a few others.
It's really weird that they hired. Yeah, there's a few other, but we find out that they don't matter.
Yeah, they just get shredded up. Yeah, electrocuted. They all fall into.
I think the other one I really enjoyed was the Vanisher. That one was funny.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like Vanisher, like they get an application. They don't see anything, but they just assume that someone's there and so move on. But once they go through this whole audition procedure, which by the way I found pretty hilarious, that Peter he just comes in, no superpowers, no killing experience. He's just a guy who thought it looked fun, and he got in, and Taxi Dude is freaking pissed because he said he wanted to be part of it at the start, and they gave him the whole, hey, you don't have powers, you can't do that. But then it's like you see like this random dude in a suit just get in. That was such a big slap in the face for him.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they make this whole plan because essentially they're essentially gonna, because of the whole cable fight in the prison, they're trying to move them to a different prison, and so Deadpool plans out this entire prison raid with, I think he drew it in crayon. But essentially, it's like, okay, we have this elaborate scheme. We're gonna parachute, we're gonna halo jump in the middle of the city, and we're just gonna make this plan work. And the funny thing is, most of the X-Force members that they introduce, they all say that this doesn't sound like a good idea. It's like, screw it. It sounds cool, so just do it. Everyone parachutes. We're expecting some big fights,
Mm-hmm.
and they kill off pretty much everyone except the Domino. In fact, at first Peter makes it, and it's like, yeah, I'm doing great right here. But then one other guy, who has acidic vomit, ends up going into like a garden shredder. He's trying to save him, but his acidic vomit gets onto him, and Peter's dead.
Yeah.
Yep. Burns off his right arm, I believe. Yeah, that was beautiful.
And then, of course, there's this alien who says that he's so much better than everyone, but then he gets chopped up in like a helicopter propeller, and it's like, well, that's one thing that he wasn't better at than humans.
That part, I just liked how you could see that chunk of hair on top of the helicopter afterwards, just like.
But yeah, going back to Vanisher though, that would crack me up, because at first it looked like they just threw like an empty bag with a parachute, but then only when he hits like an electrical cable, like a phone cable, and gets electrocuted to death, do they show that, no, there was an actual guy behind there. So they literally paid that one actor for that one flash second when he's killed off.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You didn't?
Or at least I don't remember that bit. I definitely remember like everybody getting axed off. Maybe it's just short-term memory loss.
Yeah, the funny thing is with Terry Crews, they literally lied in the trailer because they showed him punching somebody, but no, Terry Crews, like, he just crashes into a bus and dies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they showed that in the trailer to fool you, but he got nothing.
Ooh, I don't think I got to see that in the trailer, so.
Yeah, I will say, like, that was one thing some fans were pissed just because, like, they hyped that up in the trailers only to give them the biggest fuck you imaginable. But
yeah, but you gotta expect that with the kind of movie we're watching.
I kind of let it go only because, like, the way they killed him off was just so creative and hilarious. It's like, okay, usually I would be pissed, but that was pretty hilarious, and I definitely did not see that coming. Plus, it lends into the fact that Domino was probably the only character that made it out of that parachute jump outside of Deadpool just because she is that lucky.
Yeah, as she said so.
It's just like Deadpool goes around about like, hey, what luck? That's not a superpower, and if it is, it's not gonna be cinematic. But she probably gets one of the most impressive action sequences throughout. Like, just to match up with her name, it's essentially like the whole sequence where she's rushing through traffic and cars are crashing around her like a domino set. Like, it's just magically avoiding her, and it's like anytime like she shoots, like it's gonna ricochet off into where it's supposed to hit. Like they found ways to just make that both creative and just very ambitious. Like, it wasn't like the other fights where it was just like it was either hand to hand or like gag based. Like, as far as like taking care of the big set pieces go, that was probably the main kicker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So there's this whole entire impressive action scene where in the middle of it, Cable also raids the same truck, and they get into that huge fight. It's between like both Domino and Deadpool. Against Cable throughout the multiple cars. Deadpool pulls out some crazy stuff you saw in the trailer, like getting shot in his hand, grabbing it with the bullet hole in his hand, and then using that to shoot the driver of in one of the cars. And of course, we can't forget the fact that like he slices that one bullet in half. It's like, oh shit, he's gonna slice them all. But no, several of them do end up hitting him. It's like, there's no way he can slice all those bullets. It just looked like it.
I liked his reaction to that afterwards too.
Like,
Ooh, snap.
oh.
Like, ouch.
And of course, they're like in the middle of that. Cable ends up accidentally killing just some random prisoners who are locked in the truck. It's like, you killed that guy, you bastard!
He was like a brother to me.
Meanwhile, he didn't give a fuck about him when they first met. But yeah, this all builds up to it's essentially a truck collapses in the middle of the bridge, and we get Juggernaut. Juggernaut exits out. Deadpool is fanboying like nuts. Like, oh god, I've always wanted to meet you, coming at me menacingly, just describing what he's gonna do. And Juggernaut just picks Deadpool up and just he twists.
He's like, I'm going to tear you in half now.
And he does, and it's not in a disturbing way at all. It's just
no, not at all.
Literally that's it.
And of course, Fire Fist is going. It's like, you told me to find someone stronger, so I did. Deadpool is trying to act like no, but I can protect you now. But probably the funniest part of that exchange, just to emphasize what a dick Fire Fist is just like, don't you dare! What does he have that I don't have? Like, don't you dare say legs.
Yeah.
That is such a kid thing to do, honestly. Like, that's something like
definitely
some of the South Park characters would do.
Yeah. I don't know. I found that hilarious.
Yeah, I did too.
Ooh.
I especially like when Juggernaut first came into screen, like Domino just peeks up and it's like just walks off like, yeah, I may be lucky, but I'm not dealing with that. You're on your own.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, no, thank you. I'm gonna go that way.
Yeah, have fun. Have fun. So this leads to, okay, Fire Fist is with Juggernaut. He's probably gonna kill off his abusers from the orphanage. And meanwhile, this leads to the scene Bobby wish he hadn't seen. Like, I don't mention this in his Twitter and Stardust, but we get the reveal. We get the reveal of Deadpool's baby dick.
Yeah.
That. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, first of all, like, he's got these little legs. It's like, who are you, Doc? Like, Mini-Me for you from Austin Powers? It's just like...
Yeah, except it's only half of his body, so it looks even weirder.
Yeah. Especially when it goes up to Cable.
That one description, who was it? That one of the characters gives to the...
TJ Miller?
Huh?
TJ Miller?
I think so.
He's the
bartender. He's like, yeah, it's like he's giving birth.
Through his anus.
Aliens just gave up halfway and said, "Screw it."
And everyone, even Cable, when he comes by, is disturbed by it. Like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Except Domino. She's like, "Oh, I just never seen you with your mask off."
What? That's what you're focusing on?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I like how she still thought his legs were cute, though.
But yeah, Cable comes in. He's basically like trying to strike a deal because he says what a danger Fire Fist it's become, like killing off his family and stuff. And like this is where I think they found a way to use a character as cliche as Cable to their advantage. It's like they're mocking the fact that what Deadpool's currently going through, his like I want to die, I have nothing left to live for, he almost works as sort of a parody of his suffering. It's like, look how ridiculous yourself would look if you took what you're going through seriously right now. You would look like a discount Terminator holding a burnt teddy bear because it's the only thing that reminds you of your family, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They even mentioned how it's like somewhere it's like it's just lazy writing.
Yeah, yeah. There's that one note
Yep.
in the trailer where where Deadpool turns to the camera and said, "Well, that's just lazy writing."
We couldn't think of anything though. We're just slapping that in.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's that's suddenly reminding me like going back to the James Bond opening thing is that they still went with the whole like basically inspired off Honest trailer, the we don't give a shit opening credits.
Yeah,
Like,
instead of saying
wasn't
who
enough
directly
for them to
produced, it's like directed by an overpaid tool and things like that. I don't.
Yeah, it went even further than that, where like the first half of the credit numbers were literally just the audience's reactions to them killing off Vanessa.
I can't believe you did that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the credit. And it's like,
What?
for director, it's like one of the guys that killed the dog in John Wick,
Oh yeah.
and the writer,
Oh yeah.
they listed the writers as the real villains.
Unlike
Real
the real
villain.
heroes in the first movie.
Yeah. Oh, nice catching that, because I didn't recognize that.
Hmm. Yeah, I've seen the original Deadpool opening sequence quite a few times after seeing the film.
Oh, man. But yeah, essentially, like, the whole conversation with Cable convinces him to not give up on him. Deadpool basically gives him the deal, like, I'll give one last talk to him, and if he doesn't make it, you can kill the kid. So they're heading off to that orphanage, and Domino mentions that she was probably molested in that orphanage as a kid. So,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
So, and just an offhand comment in that car ride.
Yeah.
And also, like, at first,
Cosmic reason for being there, I think she said.
and also, right before they even arrive at the orphanage, what was the song that Deadpool was playing on the radio where he was trying to get Colossus back, like in some cheesy romantic drama, just like come back, I'm sorry.
No, I don't remember it either.
Yeah. It was some overly romantic song. It's just like it playing over the radio. They're like, I'll find it. I don't need you. Wah.
The one thing I was focusing on that part was just how much duct tape his suit had.
Oh. Well, yeah. I mean, he was torn in half. He needs. Hey, he may regenerate, but his suit doesn't regenerate.
No. I just liked how they went with that though.
Let's like nod.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, so they end up right after leaving the taxi, they're about to hit this orphanage. Firefist and Juggernaut are already causing damage, and in the middle of this confrontation, Colossus shows up. Like, he took his call, and even when like it was right after Juggernaut was beating the shit out of them, and he shows up, and they do a repeat of how Deadpool gets stabbed in the head. This time, and like he just sees like the overly romantic shit going in his head, but this time it's with Colossus giving him like the bridal carry.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Deadpool's just getting all into it.
And essentially, like Deadpool keeps talking throughout the movie how like you can't play all heroic in some of these, you gotta play dirty. And so Colossus like takes his advice and plays dirty. Like he when he's fighting Colossus, he pulls like some prison moves on Juggernaut.
Hey, but it worked. It worked.
Yeah, it worked pretty well. The whole fight sequence, while it wasn't as impressive as like action-wise, I will say the climax is the one that feels the most like a joke rather than an actually impressive fight scene. Like they really focus more on punchlines rather than choreography for those.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I actually quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, I will say like no, like because of that though, the jokes were especially funny. Like there's a whole entire sequence where like Domino is just slaughtering these guards inside in front of like these orphan kids, but then orphan kids are just like cheering on like yeah, woo!
It's like they're all quiet. They're all quiet the whole time that you see her kind of like slashing and going through all of them, and then the last one gets his head smushed, and she looks over to the kids, and the kids are just like,
Yeah.
Murder!
It's like we're all scared, but it's like, yay, carnage!
Yeah. Yeah, and I love the whole fact of like when Cable and Deadpool are fighting the guys with shotguns. Deadpool, no, Cable won't let Deadpool use any of his sick ass toys, so he just grabs a brick and then that's how he starts fighting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whereas Cable has all of this like high tech gear, Deadpool just like.
Brick. I actually really like Cable's weapon though. That was really cool.
Oh yeah, Cable has some sick ass toys. I mean, he's got like he's got a force field. He's got like a lot of Sonic based weapons.
Yeah, that one was particularly the one I enjoyed. Ah,
Oh god.
I'm usually not very interested in the weaponry. I'm not very much for that in
It's just something
movies or
kind of
in any situation. Really, I'm not much for them.
And I forgot in which part that this happened, but in the middle of probably one of my favorite parts of that climax is that in the middle of it, Negasonic and Yukio do like a tag team with Colossus, and essentially once Juggernaut is Juggernaut is all toppled over by those two, Colossus just grabs like a giant electrical cable and shoves it up Juggernaut's prison wallet and throws him into the pool.
Yes.
There is a lot of references to anal penetration in this movie. I mentioned that in my Stardust review as well.
Hey, he said he was gonna play dirty, and he played dirty.
Yep.
This movie's very fascinated with the concept of stuff going up people's buttholes.
Yep.
Ooh, anything else?
Well, we're moving near the climax, and I guess this is the section where I'm gonna hand it over more to you guys, because it's essentially what made me ultimately love the movie is how they handled Fire Fist's arc and how Deadpool handled it.
I think we went over that to the whole pointing out that the main thing Deadpool had to do in order to get through that to Firefest was, show that he'd be willing to lose his own life.
Yeah, he had to spare one of those. He had to spare one of those power locking handcuffs to basically say it's like, hey, I'm immortal, but if you shoot me right now, it's gonna be done for me. And so he basically talked over to his level. And what I really liked about this is that it's like of the recent superhero movies, it's one of these that the actual final climax doesn't involve like whoever makes the one final hit. Like even Black Panther, where it tries to have like this social message thing, it's only after someone's already been stabbed. Whereas this one is like, okay, no, the entire thing to end this climax is just one long conversation piece between Deadpool and this soon-to-be serial shooter, and how
Yeah,
does he try to convince him
Mhm.
to be good? And the thing is,
yeah, and I think it gets the message of the importance of another life
Yeah.
really going through it, because he didn't even have to do that. He didn't
well,
have
actually,
to.
here's the thing. The reason why I say like I think this was a well-suited choice for Deadpool 2 is essentially it was a way to make Vanessa's death meaningful. Like if Vanessa was still alive, no question about it, Deadpool would not bother with this kind of conversation, especially with the whole like I'm gonna die, or it's like no, like what now? What's the point of me being an influence on others? But essentially, like, hey, I want to die, but I can't. But this is a chance to make it meaningful. It's the kind of choice Deadpool would only do if he seriously wanted to be dead.
Mhm.
Yeah, and again, going back to the whole deal that they used Vanessa's death, like you said, to make that position work.
Yeah, it's a good parallel.
But I will say, while it was funny in the moment, the one thing that was kind of grating on me was the fact that Deadpool was sure taking his time dying, wasn't he?
I don't know. For
I-
some reason, in that moment, it didn't I'm not really one for slow pacing. Like only when it works, like when I'm really drawn in emotionally and so forth. But I don't know what it is about that scene. It honestly really grabbed me. Just how slow, and how. I know Deadpool, wants to die so we could be with Vanessa, but I did this have this like kind of tension, this kind of oh no, sort of feeling.
I did get
Well,
the feeling, are they going to kill Deadpool? Because
Yeah.
this would be a pretty fitting end.
yeah, that's the thing. Like that's one of the few things I think worked with going that way. Is that one? Yes, you can kind of question, hey, are they going to do it here? They're not. You know. Another thing is that it's a great joke to pull out. The whole, oh, I'm going to do a dramatic death, and oh, I'm taking
I'm going to
so
go through
long.
every checklist cliche that you can go through in one of these.
Yeah, and the whole thing being like, hey, wouldn't it be really weird if he actually did die that way?
Well, I don't know. I kind of knew in the back of my head that they weren't going to kill him.
Same.
I think they
I
found
think
a
I
good
was just
cheat,
more being
though.
sympathetic.
Yeah, I think they found a good cheat, though. Essentially, like, they have this whole setup that, like, before they go through the actual way he avoids death, he essentially gets one last scene with Vanessa in the afterlife. It's like, hey, they essentially go through a Fast and Furious speech. It's like, hey, they're your family now. Go to them. That kind of stuff. Cable makes use of his last. He only has like fuel for one last jump to the past. He's supposed to use that for
To get
his
home.
family, but since Fire Fist is no longer gonna be a serial killer mutant or whatever, it essentially shows like no, the family's gonna be fine. So he uses the time warp on Deadpool.
Yeah. What did he use to block the bullet?
Oh, oh yeah, I almost forgot. We crossed over
Oh!
here. The wedding anniversary gift, which was the first Deadpool wedding anniversary gift was to Vanessa was the skee ball token that they used for the first date, and Vanessa's present was what do you call those things? It's used to block the ovary or the uterus.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, it's essentially the baby blocking machine.
From having
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah, it's a baby blocking tool, and like business is in session. But But essentially, like, hey, use that token. The token is made out of lead, so it blocked the bullets for just that moment.
Mhm.
That was a nice touch. That was a very nice touch.
Mhm. And it kind of leads to.
Oh, go on, Bobby.
Shoot. Maybe we should actually save for the epilogue.
Okay, then, because it's essentially like one last joke when they're about to leave. The guy that Fire Fist was trying to kill, he basically goes through an entire bigoted rant before getting run over by the
taxi driver guy. He finally made his accomplishment of being a killer.
And he loves it so much. Like, I did find that a bit kind of disturbing, honestly. Just like, okay, you stopped this kid from being the killer, but now your taxi driver is the one that just be thankful he doesn't have superpowers. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm. In the context of this movie, though, I kind of just had fun with it, you know.
Yeah, I would too.
Which probably, once that's all over, we get to what can only be described as the greatest stinger montage since 22 Jump Street. Yep.
Where they just basically reverse engineer Cable's gun.
Yeah, no, not gun. Yukio and Negasonic basically repair Cable's time machine and hand it over to Deadpool, and then they're just going, good God, what have we done? Deadpool uses it to basically bring first Vanessa to life, first bring Peter back to life, kill off the X-Men Origins version of Deadpool in the exact scene, and to top it all off, kill off Ryan Reynolds before he takes Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
I think that's also like a fuck you to Days of Future Past. It's like, yeah, sure, time travel to retcon, but that didn't help. No, just shoot it. Just shoot it all.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think we just literally went through the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all she wrote.
And it only took us it took us an hour and a half. Holy crap.
Yep.
Oh, gee.
In fact, so much so, you might have seen it in the stream, I had to switch memory cards.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm recording my audio separately.
All right, that's something about our thoughts. You wanted to go through like some epilogue talk or whatever?
No, we already went through it. That's what I meant by saying for the epilogue. I was talking about post-credits.
Oh, okay then.
Oh, okay.
So, any final thoughts?
It was a lot of fun. I watched it twice.
Oh, now we're knowing you watched it twice.
I have Movie Pass, and Movie Pass only allows you to see movies once for free now. So, but yeah, I don't get the whole complaint, that much complaints about it as like, oh no, the first one is better. I think the second one had more of a point, and it was more ambitious. I thought it was funnier too. And one thing I cannot stress enough is there's one thing that I didn't like about the first Deadpool that much. It was with the fight scene. They got one of the directors for John Wick for this one, so the choreography and framing of the fight scenes was a lot better this time.
Yeah, I definitely felt it was a much meatier movie, because I remember with the first Deadpool, even though I thought it was funny, I couldn't really get past like how very simple, like, you know, the plot and characters were. This one, even though there's arguably a couple of tropes, you know, it was still engaging, and I had a lot more fun with it. And I don't know if I know we mentioned this after we saw the movie, Stephen, but we both kind of thought the jokes were a bit edgier this time.
Oh yeah, they definitely took more jabs with this one.
Yeah, I think there was
Oh, yeah,
there was like a
definitely.
scene where Deadpool called one of the guys who ran the orphanage. He was like, "Oh, are you gonna talk? Are you gonna care about Jared Kushner here?" And then probably one of my favorites was when he was in the X-Men mansion. He saw all the pictures of the there were, and he was like, "Wow, look at all these old white men. I should have brought my rape whistle."
Or when he jabs at Cable right before he's going to die, like, before I die, I hope that one day you will learn to judge others not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Yeah, for some reason there was this running gag of Deadpool keeps on accusing him of being a racist. I didn't get it. Like, what? What makes him a racist? Like, oh wait, I think I know what it was. He thought he was trying to kill off Fire Fist because he's not white.
Oh, and then the part when he tells the taxi driver to turn off his ethnic music.
Oh yeah, that's it.
He's like, I'm so sorry, it gets better.
And Deadpool's also horrified to hear that he doesn't like dubstep in the whole prison fight.
Oh, but then Cable retaliates, and he's like, I guess dubstep never dies.
Yeah, I even remember you used that as a hashtag, Gaby. You were like, hashtag dubstep never dies.
It's gotta be a hashtag.
Yeah. But, I don't know, I think I kind of summed up my thoughts in that I definitely liked it a lot more than the first. Gaby?
I agree. The second one felt a lot more memorable for me. A lot of what happened in the movie really stuck with me a lot more, which is saying a lot because I forget a lot of details very easily.
I will say for the people asking though, I do like. People brought up this comparison, and I'm gonna say it. I do love this movie a lot, but it's not gonna top Infinity War for me.
Which I have not
Really?
seen Infinity War, so you
Yeah,
have to explain.
I think even though I enjoyed Infinity War, I feel like I enjoyed Deadpool 2 a lot more.
yeah. The reason why I mentioned that is that a lot of people were bringing up that comparison before, and honestly, the ending to Infinity War just left such an impact that I wasn't expecting to get out of the Marvel universe, and I just think like overall it does some stuff that I haven't seen in like a major blockbuster in a long time. It took a lot of chances with that.
And there was a lot, well, not a lot, but there was like a big thing that really kept me from thinking much of Infinity War, especially regarding Thanos. So for me, being the kind of person who doesn't necessarily take things seriously off the bat, a movie like Deadpool and Deadpool 2, I don't know, I just feel like I can enjoy better just because, you know, it points out just how like a lot of serious stuff can end up not being serious. It's more so just kind of like a personal thing rather than like, oh, it was done better or this and this was like, it's just purely
I see.
for me.
Well,
I think that covers everything.
yeah, definitely. We pretty much went through the whole movie. So, yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that. For the guys watching, please let us know in the comments, was Deadpool 2 much better than the first? And I'll even ask this, if you went to see Deadpool 2 and you've never seen the first one, did you get into it? Please let us know. So,
That's a good question.
because I know we kind of brought that up before. So, Steve and Gaby, thank you for coming on. Let's talk about Deadpool 2.
Thank you for having us.
And I know I put the little promotion at the beginning of, like, when I edit this video, I always put that promotion for Steven's YouTube channel, so please go and check it out. He's been coming up with some really good stuff. So, yeah, and the link to the channel will be in the bottom of the description of the videos. So, thanks, guys, for coming on. And, Gaby, you'll be sticking around for the Cal Arts discussion, right?
Let's do this.
All right. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I'm going to stop the chat for now because I have to give time for my computer to save. But when it's ready, I'll let you know. So, hey guys, this has been a Blood Moon Bobby video. Please like this video or dislike it. And please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.